Hey, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video I've got something very, very special for you. We just hosted a private mastermind training right here in our AdClients HQ, where we shared with our expansion clients, people that have paid us $25,000 to work with us. We shared with them the 4 levels of scaling a course, expert, or coaching business. And I shared with them how level 1 is $0 to $20,000 a month. I shared with them exactly what to do to get to that level. The second is 20K to 50K per month. The third is 50 to 100. And the fourth is well and truly over the $100,000 per month in the coaching business. I want to share with you that session. This has not been revealed before. This was a brand new training just for them. And I want to give you a glimpse behind the scenes so you can learn these 4 stages as well. And not only what you should be doing, but also what you should be avoiding and the pitfalls that are going to keep you stuck. So without further ado, enjoy this session and we're going to roll straight into the clip. So we've got different stages that I want to unpack. And it's important to note that these are designed to be helpful benchmarks, but it's not going to be an exact science. Okay, so I've put here, if you're in stage 1, anywhere between $0 to $20,000 a month, then the things highlighted in green is really what you should be focusing on. But that's not to say that someone at $15,000 a month with some other interesting parts of their business wouldn't perhaps progress to stage 2. It also doesn't mean that someone at $30,000 a month should necessarily progress to stage 2. They might actually just find greater benefit focusing and staying here. There are also other things that make a difference to this, which would be team size, how many people on your team, or it might be how big the email list is. Because for someone doing 20K a month and someone else doing 20K a month, the size of their email list might be very, very different. And so how much we can do with the back end is very dependent on the size of the list. So there are other variables at play, but this is just to give you an idea. So if you're anywhere between 0 and 20K a month, and I don't think anyone in the room is actually at this level, you're all in expansion, you're probably stage 2 or beyond, but let's at least just address it. When you're at this level, you should only really be focusing on some of your traffic efforts on the front. Might be paid, might be organic. It's going to be dependent on your budget really and how much you can afford. If you've got money to spend on ads, then you should. If you haven't, you're going to have to just double down on organic. So we're doing that. We've got to have some kind of unique pull. Like you can't escape that. You don't get to a certain income level and now you've got to get creative with some kind of pull. No, we've got to actually come up with something really, really good. In the beginning, that's what's going to get us up to the higher stages. We need to have one value funnel, just one. We don't have multiple front-end funnels. You really do not need it, and I must stress that. If by some chance you're watching this video and you're in this stage, you must have one funnel, one webinar, or if your value funnel is a VSL or a virtual event or something else, one and only one. And that one funnel should lead to one offer. You do not need multiple offers if you're not at 20K a month already. You just do not need it. In fact, you're only going to add confusion. You're going to add more work. You're going to add more admin. You absolutely do not need it. And I'm actually going to give you a quick prime example of where people get this wrong. Is they're trying to sell their core offer. They're trying to follow what I've just said there. And then their core offer is not selling. They're not generating clients. They are speaking to people on the phone and it seems that no one has any money. And so they've attempted to go, maybe I'll create my stepping stone offer now. If I could just add maybe like a $500 thing, then for the people that say no to the core offer, I could probably get them onto the $500 thing at least. They're not taking my 5K, maybe they'll take my 500. So we add a new offer. What does that do? Takes you out of your business for 2 to 3 months while you think about what that's going to be, how it's going to be set up, recording all the videos, building a membership area, only to find that now on the phone, you have in your mind 2 options. So you're speaking to a prospect and you are not honing in your skills, your sales skills, crafting those conversations differently to get the closes. Instead, you've now got this other option and you'll default to it much, much easier. So you'll be on the phone with someone and as soon as they say, look, Phil, that sounds great. I just simply can't afford it. Oh, okay, well, I've got this other thing. It's fine. And you just jump straight to it. Because you're so nervous about getting off the phone and not making anything that you jump too quickly to the low ticket thing. So you shoot yourself in the foot there as well. It's just, you just don't need it. You need one main core offer. And if you're not selling it, it's probably not. There are going to be some very small cases where it might be very, very small. But if your offer's not selling it's most likely you're not getting the right people from social media with the right pull that's really interesting them. You didn't provide enough value, or you didn't do it in the right way to disqualify people and qualify people. You didn't have the right steps in this funnel to get the application form in that has the right questions that allows you to further disqualify, and you just are just not good enough on the phone yet, and that's fine. It just takes a bit of time to hone in your sales skills. So before you go, oh, this thing's not selling right, let me add some other stuff, let me have a back end offer, let me just create more, because more surely creates more potential income. No, you're actually masking the problem. It's like spraying cologne on a corpse. It's like, I just kind of want to pretend that the smell isn't there, so I'm just going to spray some cologne on it and just hope that the problem goes away. No, the corpse is still there, right? So there's still a problem here in green somewhere, and you must fix that before you add these other things. Now, some of you may have taken that on board, some of you may have glazed over that, some of you may remember this leaving this room, and some of you may forget. I'm really hoping that you just take some time to really think about what I just said there. Because if what you're doing in green is not working, if you start to add this other stuff in, thinking that that will solve it, I guarantee you'll have a business that will not scale. You will hit roadblocks, you will get into trouble, and the whole thing will just, you'll start to not enjoy your business because there's just chaos everywhere. So you must get the stuff in green at cranking and converting and getting it to roughly that kind of 20K a month before you progress forward. And then of course you've got your value funnel that's getting you some leads in, but your list is probably not big enough yet to be doing big promotional stuff, to be putting gift box funnels together, maybe not even second chance funnels. Second chance campaigns. If you're just starting out, you've probably got 20, 30, 40 leads on the list, and that's growing by 3 or 4 a day. You're just finding your feet. You actually don't want to spend much time on email. You really do just want to focus on your front end funnel, selling your one main offer, and let's get that cranking. And once it is, then we can start to focus on more stuff in email. However, we want to at least stay front and center with our email list. We want them to remember who we are. We want to stay in contact with them. And so we would be sending just perhaps some content emails. Just a couple of emails a week, send them back to a piece of content that you've already got on YouTube somewhere, or some other, social platform, to just keep it nice and simple, keep it nice and easy. So if you're anything like me, color coding and visuals really helps. So I've color coded this differently. Stage 2, if you're anywhere between, again, ballpark figures, there are going to be other variables that change this. Stage 2, somewhere between maybe 20K to 50K, this would indicate that you've got something moving now. You've got some momentum. You're actually signing up some clients and things are looking good. So let's take a look at what's changed. Well, what's changed is we've got our incubator here, and we've got our website that's now been highlighted in purple. Maybe at this point, it would be good for us to come up with some kind of purpose-built incubator. Maybe that's a school group. Maybe that's, dare I say, a Facebook community. I don't like Facebook, but just to cover all bases, maybe you do like Facebook. Maybe that's something that you're into. So maybe it's a Facebook community, something like that. Let's get creative, but maybe that's the point where you think, I'm actually going to put something like that together now. And this is where you might want to focus on your website too. Okay, shoot, we're actually getting some leads in now. I'm actually getting some clients in. My brand seems like it's building a bit of momentum. I should probably have a nice brand homepage for all of this stuff as well. Now, some of you would argue, well, why don't you just get this set up in the beginning? Why don't we just build this on a solid foundation, have a website, have it all ready to go, and then start building our funnels? Well, it's not necessarily the wrong answer. It was just the wrong answer for me, because I know how much time that's going to take. I know what a perfectionist I am. So if I want to spend time building what's going to be my brand, right, and my brand's presence, I know I'm going to spend a disproportionate amount of time putting my website together, making sure it's designed just so I like it. That's 2 months of wasted time, perhaps, and that's on a good time scale. Could be 6 months of just fiddling and tinkering, and so it's just wasted time. And wasted time in this context is wasted revenue. So I personally would rather get things moving, get some money in the door, and then start focusing on those things that are perhaps less important in the beginning. Then I've highlighted cleaning, okay? Cleaning your list. Now, I didn't highlight that in the first stage because you've probably not got enough leads that need to be cleaned. But at this point, your list is getting a bit bigger. It's going to be in the hundreds, maybe even in the thousands.
And so you do want to start to implement some kind of cleaning. And this is not complicated. I can answer all your questions on this. We've got training in the membership area about how to clean your list. But you just want to make sure that you're just keeping it nice and tidy, emailing people that are most engaged, categorizing people so that you know who you're messaging, and you're not really pissing off people that you shouldn't be messaging. Okay? Back-end offers. All right? We've highlighted this one now because at stage 2, this might be a time where you go, okay, I'm actually getting some consistent clients coming in. I'm going to add a back-end offer. I'm going to give myself the option to get some upgrades from people. Someone comes on and joins your core offer. Well, what happens when they get to the end of the time in your program, right? You've actually got some clients going through now. So now's the time we might want to think about a back-end offer. You might want to think, oh, when they're done in my 90-day program or a 6-month program, what happens then? Well, I should probably have something else to offer them if they wanted to stick around, okay? Now, this could potentially, and I say potentially, and if you're watching this and you're in our expansion program, talk to us, let us help you figure this out, but potentially you'll swap these two over. So what I'm essentially getting at is that we can now add another offer. But for some of your businesses, it might be more appropriate to not do a back-end offer as the second one. Maybe it's a stepping stone. That just might make more sense. We would need to chat with you and help you unpick that. But blanket, umbrella for everyone, it's probably going to be a back-end offer so that you can maximize the revenue from the clients that are already coming in. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. And then we've got promotion stuff going on now, right? This is where we can now start to think about, well, let's actually do some promotion now. Let's give people second chances. And eventually, when we get to a point where our list is big enough, we might do some gift box funnels. Both of these have been highlighted in the same stage because, as you can imagine, a lot happens in this stage, right? Someone's down at the lower end of this stage with a much smaller list, so they're probably only going to focus on second chance. Whereas someone's at the top end of this stage with a bigger email list, they might start to do some gift box funnels. I've got some other training that I'm going to take you through that will tell you when and at what stage to use different campaigns. And I've got examples of campaigns. I've got swipe files that we're going to be giving you. But now we actually do promotion. That's the big piece here. Stage 2, we're now doing some promotional stuff. All right. So the only thing really that's not highlighted is stepping stones. So that moves us on to stage 3. And stage 3, it might seem like not much has changed. Stage 3 is 50K to 100K. And the only thing that's been added are stepping stones, right? And so you might look at that and go, okay, so what you're saying is to get from stage 2 at the top end, 50K, to get to 100K and start to move on to the next stage, you're saying I just have to add a stepping stone? No, that's not what I'm saying. Because all of the stuff in green and purple still needs your time, focus, attention, and needs to be scaled. You with me? So this is a part of the process where I kind of want to pause for a second to make sure you're really getting this. We don't always just add a crap ton of new stuff when we want to get to another level in business. When we want to get to another another revenue milestone, or whatever the case may be. It's not always about adding more stuff. We've now found ourselves in the realm of let's just do more of what we've already got, but do it really, really well, right? If we want to double the business and we've already kind of got our value funnel in place, we've got a core offer, we've got a back end, we're really utilizing our back end email list and things like that. But if we want to double the business, we could just double our traffic, right? You with me? So it's not adding more stuff. We're just going to just spend more on ads. And when we spend more on ads, we get more people coming in. And the more people coming in, we can get better at the questions that we're asking and our ability to sell on the phone. Maybe we start to hire salespeople now. That won't be seen on this system, but that's happening behind the scenes. Our email list is getting bigger, so our promotions get bigger. So we're making more money on the back end. And so getting into this stage is not just adding more stuff. It's doing more of what you're already doing and doing it better and doing it at a higher level. But of course, we have highlighted stepping stones because if you're going to add a stepping stone, this might be when you think about it. You know, if you're at kind of 50K to 100K, that's where you might have all three of these, you know, colored in: stepping stone, core offer, back end offer. If you're less than 50K, like I just can't stress this enough. If you're less than 50K, you shouldn't have multiple offers. You shouldn't have 3, 4, 5 different offers. You should absolutely not be doing that. And if you were to do it, if there was a need to do it, it would be only as a stepping stone to the other stuff. So what's in blue right now could be a low ticket product that maybe you've got a team of setters now. You've got people that can be buzzing those low ticket bars. So, okay, right, actually does feel appropriate. I'm going to launch a low ticket thing because I have a system ready to move those people up. Or it might be that it's the bootcamp model and you're selling a lower ticket, 3-day Zoom training, $500, $1,000. It's because the goal of that is to move them up, right? So we're only going to be adding that in if it really feels appropriate, okay? And then stage 4, 100K to $1 million a month, okay? And the best month that we had was just shy of $1 million, and everything we did sat within this, okay? Bar perhaps some very small exceptions, but everything pretty much sits within this, and that's a big scale. 100K a month to $1 million a month, surely more needs to change. I should be seeing more red on there. But even more so now, this points to do more of what's in the red, what's in the green and the purple. It's not about adding loads of more stuff. It's about doing more of what you're already doing and scaling it. You know, this has been a theme with us over and over and over again, where if we want to grow the business, if we want to double the size of our company, if we want to scale, essentially, we actually look for the stuff within our business that's pulling the most benefit, and we just try to amplify that as opposed to add more. Like, this is such an important theme that I'm hoping that you get. We just don't add and add and add and add, but typically we just try to do more of what's already working and do it at a larger scale. So, like, for example, our email list promotions, that's huge for us as a company. Like, if we really focus on a great new gift box funnel, then we'll easily do 6 figures a month, right? So now imagine one scenario, my company's only focusing on the front end and breaking even, and we're really struggling because we're just focusing, like, everything's big, we've got loads of people on payroll, and we're really struggling, we're just breaking even, and we're only focusing on the front end, and everyone's getting, frustrated and worked up and panicking. Well, a second scenario is exact same company, exact same size team, exact same break-even front-end funnel, but our back-end promotion does 6 figures minimum every time. That's the 100 grand profit a month for the business, right? Like, right there. So if you did a promotion on your back-end and it was 10K or 20K, that's most likely going to be pure profit, okay? Now, this is actually likely what's going to happen. What's going to happen when you get to this stage, okay, is your front-end is going to stop being profitable. That's probably what's going to happen. You'll spend 50K a month on ads and you'll recoup 50K or maybe just over. So you'll kind of be sat around break even, but now your email list is large enough that that is the profit generator. And then you've got these different offers that when people come into your stepping stone offer, then they're going to upgrade to your core offer perhaps, or someone joins your core offer and you've got nice delivery systems to where people upgrade and renew. Phil, how long have you been around? I think you've renewed probably 5 years, and maybe even 6 years. That's coaching.
Yeah, well, yeah, probably has been 5 years. Yeah.
So you have clients like Phil that just stay, just renew. So if I didn't have a mechanism up here that at the end of Phil's time are like, hey, dude, you want to go again? And here's what we could focus on this next year, and here's where we would take you, now. If I didn't have that, I would lose, Phil's revenue for the company. So now imagine that with every single client that you have, you could be boosting the revenue of the client. So although this starts to become stretched, you're scaling your paid ads, they get more expensive, they're converting lower, but you make it up over here. So there's an element of this where you've just got to decide what game you want to play. You might want to just stay in stage 3 and you're comfortable. You might just want to stay in stage 2 and you're comfortable. If you want to move up to these higher levels, it's just a different game. We can coach you and help you. It's just a different game to play. So let's focus on the things that have been added. Okay, we've got some red, so let's talk about it. First thing is I've put gift box funnels now right here on the front end. what this points to is that your back-end promotion will be at a size now where you might test a new type of funnel to your email list. You're trying to sell the same kind of product, or you've done something slightly different, and it really worked. And you thought, shoot, to the email list, they ate this up. This was awesome. Well, actually, what we might do is take that now to the front end. We might say, for the longest time, I've just had one main front end funnel. Now this is where you might have a second front end funnel. You might actually have 2 running simultaneous. You might actually have 3 running simultaneous. Depending on where you are between 100K and a million a month, you might actually have more front end funnels. If you're Matt and Liam, then you've probably got 17 front end funnels.
I was just trying to think.
11 front end funnels, but let's just make sure that everyone understands how much you're doing. Well over $1 million a month now. So keep that in mind, because I don't want you to just hear 11 and go, oh, when do I get to that point? $1.5 million a month, that's £1. So it's life. So that's where you might go, okay, well, for us to really start to scale now, for us to support the front end as prices are going up, conversions are going down, to support the front end, I might spread my ad spend across a few different funnels, because then relative to each funnel, we're actually not spending as much. So we can kind of keep the numbers. So these are the games that you start to play. But you might go, this nailed it for our list. We're going to move this over here. And that's exactly what happened with us with our $7 2-day events, right? I think you're all familiar with those. If not, we're going to talk about them tomorrow. But we did that to the list, and it just absolutely crushed it. We charged them $7 to come on a 2-day event. And at the end of that 2-day event, we invite them to either book a call and become a client, or to come into my stepping stone bootcamp and then become a client. And it absolutely crushed it. So then we just went, well, let's just run some ads to this. Let's just see. We've already got the infrastructure. We built the funnel. It's already there. Let's just automate it and move it to the front. And we'll drive some traffic into that. We've got traffic going into our regular value funnel. We've got traffic going into that. And that does really, really well. The other thing is you might want to have just a fully intentional front-end low ticket offer that actually sits in front of the stepping stone or sits in front of the value funnel. So it might be that this is an example of where, I don't know, I don't really want to say the company name on camera, but there was a company similar to mine, same kind of space, teaching coaches and experts. And they have just gone through a really hard time, and they've closed down as a company, but they were scaling tremendously. 3 million a month. They got up to, I think, maybe even 4 million a month at one point. And a lot went wrong, and they've collapsed. Suffice to say, they were scaling really fast and really effectively. And it's actually the scaling that made everything implode, because they were growing faster than their team could keep up, and this team just started breaking left, right, and center. But I'm always looking for, well, what's the lesson then? Because we can perhaps just go, well, I don't want to learn from that company then, because they imploded. So I don't want to learn what they did. But let's find the good stuff in that. And when I looked into what they were doing, they were focusing a lot on low ticket front end stuff, and then they had their sales team just buzzing those people. So they were losing money on this. That's worth pointing out. You might lose a tremendous amount actually on the front end. You might spend 50 grand a month promoting this thing, and you might immediately recoup only 10. It's like, oh, that sucks. But it's because there's a system and there's a process, and now it takes maybe 7 days or 14 days to collect the big result, which is that they're going to come up to one of these. But you needed to have some setters that are nurturing these people, building a bit of relationship, and eventually at the right time they move on up. And that's actually what this particular company was doing a lot of. In fact, they focused on it almost entirely. But you can't do that at some of these lower stages, because that takes a sizable team, and so to have setters, and setters plural, so you've got multiple people on that team, you need a team to manage those people, because if you're anything like me, I'm not a manager, hate it. Do not want to do anything even close to that. So you need managers to look after that. At that point, your business is large enough, you probably need an operations team. So, it's not like something you can just jump straight into. That's why I want to break down these different